Over.
Keep your wits about you.
The Vizier. Would he be proud? Am I?
An expected result.
Just as he ordained.
Always keep your eye on prize. Is there money to be made?
Glory be to the current of the motive force. May its dulcet light shine in our luceric coronas. May its vitality nourish our augments. May its purity wash over our imperatives and engrams.
As far as I am aware, the monastery supplies power to several major hive cities on Rykad. Hidden somewhere in the depths of this building is a reactor of monstrous, unfathomable power.
Let us not dawdle.
I'm not satisfied with that answer. I will repeat my question again. The last Electro Priest you killed, where did you find him?
Burn in the fire of dawn, servant of the Corpse Emperor!
Another one meets the limit of his utility. The last of them.
I dare say it is, Lord Captain. Now, if it were possible for the gentleman to properly introduce himself and dispel our doubts.
Seneschal? Lord Captain? Do I have the pleasure of speaking to a rogue trader? Allow me to introduce myself. Interrogator Heinrichs van Kellox of the Imperial Inquisition's esteemed Ordo Xenos. I must confess, I'm perplexed to meet someone of your standing in a place like this. Then the timing of our meeting is fortuitous. I am requisitioning you and your retinue for my task.
Requisitioning? Young man, your choice of words is unseemly to the point of insult. You're addressing a rogue trader.
I don't imagine you'll be any happier if I say taking into inquisitorial custody.
To aid his faithful servant in the fight against corruption is the solemn duty of all whose actions affect millions of the Imperium's subjects. Let your example guide those who will carry the Emperor's light across 1,000 stars.
You are familiar with the works of Inquisitor Alistar the Redeemer. Not every acolyte can say the same, let alone people less initiated. Please forgive my lapse in manners, Lady Navigator Orselio. It is a great honor. I came to Rykad Minoris on a mission, which a rebellion prevented me from fulfilling. The governor is convinced that malcontents from among the rabble were the instigators, but I immediately suspected a more sinister presence at the root of the mutiny. My visit to the monastery and a few unhurried conversations with some of the rebels confirmed my suspicions. Someone by the name of Aurora is leading the rebellion. Data indicates that the head of the cultists is here right now, in the sanctum of the ancient reactor. Given the prophecy of the Final Dawn, and the especial efforts made by the enemies of humanity to seize the monastery, their goal is to gain access to the holy power source's control circuit and trigger a process that, once started, cannot be stopped. In other words, to detonate the reactor, thus being themselves the cause of their much-touted Final Dawn.
Blasphemous insanity.
I arrived here with an escort squad, only to lose it in our very first open skirmish. The monastery is swarming with heretics. The soldiers I requisitioned from the governor fell in battle, bled to death, or deserted. I had to make do with catching and forcefully interrogating individual rebels. It is from them that I learned what I relayed to you just now. I convinced him to cooperate. I can influence living bodies, and I find that the interrogated are much more eager to share information once the blood starts to boil in their veins. Thank you. Regrettably, the governor's people showed themselves to be unprepared for the perils of this place. And extracting blade shards from a person's stomach is beyond my powers. I hope that a rogue trader's retinue will prove more capable than a group of soldiers fresh off the base. I am positive that not all of the electro-priests within these walls have perished. The heretics spoke of shadows emerging from side alleys to make short work of the cultists invading their abode. I surmise that the entrance to their hiding place is somewhere in the hall near a machine known as the Circular Cogitator. I imagine it's one of the local sacred relics which the electro-priests treat with special piety.
Keep your wits about you.
Operation successful.
I always have a backup plan. This is intriguing. I always keep my options open.
Would you look at that?
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
As the tenets demand. As honor ordained. Caught by the web. Trust me, death is a blessing.
Who, if not me? I'll make it happen. On it. It's as good as done. I'll see to it personally.
The scriptural prognosis is favorable. Running binary mass equation. Your life is a negligible variable.
Naturally. For the throne's glory.
At your beck and call. One fewer target. I will do. I took care of this one. We'll rule the stars themselves. At your beck and call. Victory is imminent. One fewer target.
Is there money to be made?
The machine god grants me insight.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Beg for mercy, but I will grant none.
Power shall save you!
There is movement in the Empyrean. On it!
I'll brush this off.
Out of my way! Death to non-believers!
Fall back now. Death comes in silence. I shall not fail. Trust me. As the tenants demand, killing brings me no pleasure. Trust me, death is a blessing.
Get me a target. I won't object to it. But of course, Lord Captain. Let's see to it.
I'll make it happen. On it. I'll see to it personally.
Who if not me?
Request denied. Request approved. My competencies are not that.
High momentum.
Follow my lead! For von Valentius! I've seen worse battles than this in my time. I took care of this one. Indeed, reduced to dust. A tactically sound approach.
Death to the weak.
They who discern the future own the battlefield. Anything else? What an unfortunate turn of fate. I am your blade and shield. I shall not fail. Something ominous lurks ahead.
Miscalculations are for commoners. I don't make mistakes. I make profitable learning experiences. Let us not dawdle. That's how it's done. Just as I planned.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
The whispers told me how.
This Explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
Sometimes you consult the appropriate treaties on Tactica Imperial.
Just in time.
We are the spearhead of the Imperium.
You are authorized.
My whispers.
What ails you?
Blood is my life. Death is my duty. I will mend the thread between body and soul. I owe you one.
I always have a backup plan.
My next offering!
Keep your wits about you.
Attention to detail is the key to success.
I always keep my options open. Rise to the top, or get left in the dust. Always keep your eye on the prize.
Look no further.
What torments you?
Fate and fortune favor the bold. I always have a backup plan.
My success is an irrefutable
Is there money to
certainty.
be made?
Darkness lurks beyond the bright flashes. No, two darknesses. One streaked with red, with clanking shackles and false preaching. The other a bilious yellow, the tang of roiling blood and screams of pain.
Let us not dawdle. Always keep your eye on the prize. This could be an opportunity. fool!
The Masters demand your death!
Chaos guides me.
Aim for the a dance of blades and shadows. As honor ordains, killing brings me no pleasure. Come, the other side awaits.
I serve the ruling powers. Chaos guides me.
Avalon?
Out of my way.
I'll see to it, personally. I'll make it happen. On it. I'll see to it personally.
My vow is to serve.
Death to non-believers.
I won't object to it.
I will do my duty.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones.
It will be done. I took care of this one. No matter the cost. Reduced to dust. Victory is imminent.
Was that you? Or anything else? Be gone!
I've suffered.
Glory of my masters!
Bring mercy and retribution. Trust me. Caught vital, death is a blessing. As honor ordains, killing brings me no pleasure.
Death to the
Will not
Explosion successfully terminated.
Who, if not me? I'll make it happen. Another enemy down. Here's my perfect moment. Consider this a taste of what's to come. I'll see to it personally. On it. He never stood a chance. Who, if not me?
Activate calculated fury algorithm. Request approved. I venerate you, machine spirit.
A mere pain won't stop me.
Everyone, step aside. Be gone.
Follow my lead. It will be done. I took care of this one. At your beck and call.
Will do. What an unfortunate turn of fate. Make them bleed!
I will leave footprints of scarlet. As the tenant comes, the other side awaits. No. Death is a blessing. The shadows come. The other side awaits. I would that I could.
Another enemy down. I always have a backup plan. Keep your wits about you. Rise to the top, or get left in the dust. I always keep my options open.
Rogue Trader. I was somewhat brusque at our first meeting, and I would like to make up for it by expressing my thanks for your assistance in the electrodynamic Cenobium. Your arrival could not have come at a better time. Unfortunately, my personal investigation has hit a dead end. I think I will have to call upon outside resources to continue the search. What? All right. All right. At the very least, the object of corruption, if that is indeed what it was, has been destroyed. This is a satisfactory outcome. There is one more thing. The Lord Inquisitor gave me this item some time ago. He must have thought it likely that I would find myself aboard this vessel sooner than he. I was instructed to deliver this device to Lady Theodora. However, given recent events, I believe I ought to present it to you. This is an elucidator, a sacred machine capable of translating the languages of remote and lost worlds into Low Gothic. It can even process Xenos languages to a certain degree. Not without infelicities, but possibly well. It is not a love token, Lord Captain. It is a rare and valuable device that will be a useful tool in the hands of the Rogue Trader. Apologies in advance if I unknowingly violate the protocol for conversing with someone of your elevated status. I think a slip in composure is to be expected when one is hosted personally in the Lord Captain's study. I would like to offer my assistance in resolving your immediate problems. I am aware that the ship suffered considerable losses during the recent mutiny and was damaged by the cultists' actions, and you have lost many valuable officers as well. You are in a difficult situation. I am at your disposal. It all depends on the electro-priests who survived the attack. Fortunately for them, the cultists did not manage to seriously corrupt the holy site, partly thanks to the priesthood's efforts. Nevertheless, I would not be surprised if the local explorator fleet decides to audit and purge the damaged units once it hears about what has happened. After serving in the Holy Ordos all these years, I am used to people being wary of me. I will let your remark go unanswered until evidence arises to confirm my suspicions about your reasons for making it. There is no need. Under different circumstances, I would welcome the chance to speak with you at greater length, but your subjects await. Thank you for your time. Please consider me at your complete disposal while I am aboard your vessel.
Sire knows all. Comprehend. The request is approved. I did conceal certain information. I was a student of Archmagus Amanat, but I committed an act of betrayal after he deviated from sacred dogma. He fell into schism and challenged the sacred boundaries of knowledge. The blessed Amanat claimed the limits of what is permitted must be expanded, because by refusing to explore certain law, we find ourselves in contempt of the seventh universal law. Comprehension is the key to all things. My mentor put forth a thesis claiming that we have stagnated, that ritual is now nothing but a cage for souls and forced worship of the Omnissiah. He sought to break the cycle of mindless repetition because he saw the inevitable demise of our faith and all humanity at the end of it. This statement is false. My mentor's words sound like heresy. Limits were established because it is dangerous to venture beyond. Each step past them could lead to a bloody slaughter, but the blessed Amanat was not afraid. The teachings of the blessed Amanat spread, and word of it reached the conclave of the Cognizance fleet. They recognized his teachings as tech heresy. Many tech priests suddenly vanished or were subjected to servo penance for minor transgressions. The students of Amanat, whose number included many enlightened and respected brothers, resisted. My prognosis showed that our most likely future was a schism and a fratricidal war that would destroy the Cognizance fleet. That was when I headed to the Conclave. I confessed and handed the information about my mentor's research over to the Conclave. brazen, anathematic studies of the Forbidden Law. The Conclave could use that data to summon Archmagos Amanat to stand trial and compel him to repent on pain of excommunicate Traitoris. His subsequent fate is unknown to me. This statement is true. However, I took this step out of loyalty to my mentor. He rejected caution and was leading us to a blasphemous war where he would become the first and most important victim. I did not want to witness his destruction and tried to force him to submit. I wanted to return to my mentor and share his fate, but the Conclave found me repentant and sent me to the station Alter Templum Calixis EXT-17, where I was to atone for my previous transgressions. This statement is false. I, Pascal Hahnemann, fully accept responsibility for my profane acts and betraying the trust of my esteemed mentor. I was summoned there by a message that was encrypted with the Blessed Amanat's personal code, and could be interpreted in several ways. One thing was certain: we were in danger, and I had to go to Rykat Minoris. Assessing his personality is difficult. The spirit of Brother Abel is different from that of most people. Tech comrades of the Cog call such persons quiet ones. He possesses significant intellect, but shuns communication. So far, I have not been able to determine why Abel summoned me to Rykat Minoris, how he is related to the Blessed Amanat, or why he bears the same name as me. Perhaps Reverend Abel may not be fully able to actualize and interpret the available data. I was wrong when I assumed it was the Blessed Archmagos Amanat who assumed the guise of Abel Hahnemann. But there is a connection between him and the Reverend Abel, and I intend to uncover the nature of this link. Acknowledged. I will return to ruminating on the search for the Blessed Amanat.
It was just my nerves playing up. Something about our little saint doesn't sit right with me, and I trust my gut. Oh sure, she seems straight as an arrow and as predictable as a hangover after drinking. But when I look at her, something about her makes my brain itch. After that conversation, I tried to listen to what was being said about her. Beyond the door, what I heard was strange. Blood in her past, twilight in her present, and something like a star leading her. But where is it leading her? I saw several roads, and all of them frightened me. Oh yeah, you go ahead and tell her the wicked Psyker has divined something about her. She'll be so pleased and grateful, and of course she'll listen to what you have to say. No, that would be pointless. And anyway, I'm not even sure what it all means. Maybe the danger is to her? Or maybe the danger's coming from her. You bet I do, Lord Captain. Okay, so we went to Footfall once. Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start. My head had been yammering since I woke up, but there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrived at the place, and what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den. And not just any gaming den, but one run by somebody with deep pockets for people with just as much cash to splash. You should have seen it. People gambling away planets in a game of regicide. Anyway, so the Lord Captain wanted me to help her beat some guy. So I tell her, the chips won't land in your favor. You'll get a bad hand. Don't sit down at that table, your ladyship. But did she listen? Of course she didn't. If there's one thing she never lacked, it's stubbornness. So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. And they'd all gone for each other's throats. Literally. With teeth. And I think they completely detached that asteroid from Footfall and pushed it off into open space so it would head off toward the local star. All right. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going...
Domin.
Lord Captain?
Greetings.
I'm usually the one interested in the pasts of those around me, not the reverse. I come from a night world, Guizorn 3. I belong to a branch of one of the noble houses until my exceptional abilities were discovered. After that, I was sent on a black ship to Holy Terra, where I was trained, and I began my service for the glory of the Imperium. I do, but I have no ties to my homeworld now. None except my first name. I left Guizorn 3 when I was still a child. My family disowned me, stripping me of my family name. I was given a new one by those who trained me. Even for a noble, being branded a psyker is a mark of eternal shame. I experienced that firsthand before I was put on the Black Ship. Like many psykers unaware of their curse, I found out when a strong emotional reaction triggered an involuntary response. My great-aunt had a pet grink. One day, it bit me, and I boiled it from inside out. And when my great-aunt slapped me for what I'd done, I boiled her too. When I arrived on Holy Terra and was tested, I was found to be suitable material for becoming a sanctioned psyker, able to bend his curse to his own will. I can assure you that the adepts of the Astra Telepathica were right in their assessment. Picture a vast prison ship, filled with frightened, angry psykers who can't control their abilities and who have just lost their homes and their families. Some of them were children and adolescents like I was. Some were monstrous creatures who no longer had the right to be called human, or psychopaths who reveled in their impure powers. Once, when one of the miscreants broke free, those in command simply depressurized the bay and got rid of the culprit, along with the prisoners and crew tainted by him. But even after that, I heard the echo of inhuman suffering and terror that filled that part of the ship. It grieves me to recall that episode to this day. No. First, I was accorded the status of a psyker fit for service in the Imperial Guard, where I then spent several years. It was only afterward that I became an agent of the Golden Throne. Since the day of my initiation as an acolyte. So, decades. How many real years it's been, it's hard to say. When I return from a journey through the warp, I often discover that much more or much less time has passed in real space. Indeed, I have visited many of the places brought to the Emperor's light, and those sullied by the filth of the archenemy. In truth, even after all these years spent visiting the various corners of the Imperium and looking beyond its borders, I still consider the Segmentum Solar to be the greatest of all humanity's bastions. Nothing compares to the majesty of Holy Terra, the might of Mars, the grandeur of the Segment's other worlds. You can't really be expecting me to answer that question, can you? The first step for biomancers such as myself is to take control of the processes of their own body, including aging. I've endured innumerable hazards in my work. If I allowed every trace of them to remain, I would look completely different today. Gladly. Of course not. The Lord Inquisitor's entourage comprises dozens of people. The best of the best. Experts in various fields and disciplines. Some of them I know personally. Others I have never met. To be honest, I'm not even certain that the people I know are still alive. I used to work with other acolytes of the Lord Inquisitor, but in the Coronis Expanse, I have been working alone. I had never even considered such a thing before you asked. Perhaps I do. Sometimes. Your concern for my needs, Lord Captain, is extremely unexpected. Would you like to remedy my deficit of personal interaction? I would not be opposed to a pleasant conversation, if you can find the time. We are not a retinue. We are acolytes. As for your question, I am closer than anyone else to the one I call my personal teacher. The Lord Inquisitor deemed me worthy of undertaking the most important and sensitive tasks requiring the attention of agents of the Golden Throne. Such as? The Lord Inquisitor was most insistent that I master the discipline of Santic Demonology. I use my faith and my power to crush the enemies of the Imperium. Servants of Chaos tremble at the sound of the Emperor's name, uttered by my lips. I am also a skilled biomancer. I can manipulate bodily processes. Sometimes I resort to those skills in the course of my work, when it is necessary to make the subject of an interrogation more cooperative.